Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all well. We will wait a couple of minutes for our partner from Bandinov to join so that we can start. Hi, Elias.
Hello.
Hi, how are you guys?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. We're just waiting for a few minutes. Some people are trying to log on.
Yes.
Super excited for this.
Hi, Ndileka.
Hi, Onika, how are you?
I'm good, and you, Ndileka?
I'm all right, thank you.
I'm fine. I've been sending you emails since last week. The question to have the meeting with you.
I've been traveling. We only got back this weekend, so I'll only be checking my emails this week.
Okay, not a problem.
All right.
But you remember me now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, no, thank you
I
so
have a
much.
backlog. We've been traveling.
Okay, not a problem. No, I appreciate. Thank you.
Okay. We'll give it just 1 or 2 minutes. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Upfront, the call or the webinar is recorded so that everyone knows. My name is Dilega Zanzi. I'm the CEO of the French South African Tech Labs based in Cape Town, South Africa. We are doing this webinar in partnership with our champion partner, which is Bandinov, who are also responsible for the Africa to Europe soft lending program. The first part of the webinar would give an overview and intro on who FSAT Labs is, what the soft lending entails, and it will be followed up by the Métis director, Christophe, who will give an overview of the landscape and opportunities that we have in Africa. He will join us in a minute or two. He's struggling to log in, but will continue nonetheless. Let me just share my screen. Please let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
We can
Thank you
see
so
it.
much. Thank you so much. As mentioned earlier, the webinar is basically to give an overview and more in-depth information about the Europe to Africa Soft Landing webinar, which is championed by the French South African Tech Labs. Who are we? FSAT Labs, which is better known rather than the French South African Tech Labs, is an incubator and accelerator for European and South African startups. The hub is based in Cape Town, in South Africa, to be specific, in Century City. So we run through various programs for entrepreneurs to establish and scale their technology-based startups. We were established in 2016 through the support of Metis, which is a private multinational with operations across Africa and Europe, the French Embassy in South Africa, and the South African government through the Small Enterprise Development Agency, which is called CEDAR. The Europe to South African soft landing program, as mentioned, is led by FSAT Labs, which is us. It's a 3-month program that is designed to support European headquartered startups to launch their operations, products, services in African territory. We are currently we have a call out for application for 10 European startups to be headquartered to participate in a 3-month program to internationalize the mission in Cape Town, South Africa and beyond. The actual program is 3 months, but we have 2 weeks that are compulsory in Cape Town. So the 2.5 months of that 3 months is quite flexible. The first 2 weeks is compulsory, it's a compulsory program, and the selected startup will have to be based here in Cape Town for the 2 weeks. And then thereafter are more than welcome to establish themselves or to travel around the ENRICH Africa Champions hub. What this will entail will be accommodation for 10 days, transportation to activities, a pass to ecosystem activities around that time, networking, development support to develop relationships with investors, partners, customers, and stakeholders, support in setup development of local and legal structures, ecosystem tours, and various networking opportunities within Cape Town. The program is designed to achieve the following outcomes for each startup: sufficient understanding of the business environment, which is South Africa and Africa and beyond, regulation and key players in industry, introductions and meeting with various key stakeholders, partners, clients, investors that will support the startup international expansion roadmap developed and milestones defined, establishment of local entities where relevant. Who should apply for this program? The startup should at least have 2 employees or a co-founder, have a turnover of 10,000 euros in 2021, must have been in business for more than 2 years, can travel to and attend at least 2 weeks in Cape Town, which I mentioned earlier was compulsory, and have finances to support travel to and stay in Cape Town, which is estimated at 3,000 euros. This is what the timelines look like. We launched the call for application on the 1st of April. Today, which is the 3rd of May, we are having the soft landing webinar, which is an information session about the soft landing. The applications will be closing on the 17th of June, and we'll do a pre-selection of 20 projects by the 8th of July. The selection of 10 programs will happen on the 22nd of July. And the launch of the program will be there from the 1st of September. As mentioned, within the first 2 weeks, compulsory soft landing in Cape Town, and the conclusion of the 3-month soft landing will be on the 30th of November. Thank you so much. Are there any questions?
Hello, yes. Hello,
Yes.
Yes, I do have the question. Is this a 3-month program? Is it for only the European startups, or is it's also for African startups?
It's this particular soft landing, it's Europe coming to Africa, Bondinov will explain when it's their turn. They were responsible for the Africa going to Europe soft landing program.
Okay, no, thank you.
I don't know whether you have any specific questions with regards to the Africa to Europe, or you just wanted to know regarding this one in particular?
Yeah, I wanted to know about this one. So the one for Africa to Europe, when is it going to be open?
Elias from Bondinov will be more vested in responding to that question.
Okay, not a problem. No, thank you so much.
Okay. Any other questions before I hand over to Christoph?
Yeah, I have one question, and that is regarding the revenue that was required. It said, I don't remember the sum, but it says it needs to be a revenue in the startup. Is that a strict? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And that couldn't be like soft funding revenue. It must be income from customers, or?
Do you, with the exact amount, or do you mean or less?
Yeah, because I mean, you could have revenue from having public funding in a startup, but not from paying customers. Do you differentiate that?
It's something that we would need to just look at, but you're more than welcome to apply. And if there's any other issues or questions, that will then come back to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. If there are no further questions, I'll hand over to Christoph.
Hi, guys. Hope you're well. Just wanted to give you a quick experience sharing for those of you that are thinking to maybe seed their business or expand their business in South Africa and Africa in general. So I'll just use a couple of slides. Hopefully I can make that work. And just wanted to do that in an interactive manner. Hope everybody's fine with that. So maybe in terms of presenting briefly the ecosystem, Cape Town area is most known in Africa as Silicon Cape. The reason for that is that we have quite a large tech sector in South Africa, and South Africa as a country is one of the top 4 tech economy on the continent. Cape Town specifically is quite a gateway between Europe and Africa. Traditionally, the city feels half European and half African. And it's ranking quite well in terms of ranking. So for example, in terms of tech ecosystem of the future, Cape Town has regularly ranked either on top or in the top 4 ecosystem, and is quite well perceived globally as a tech ecosystem. Many large companies have invested in South Africa with a Cape Town base. In terms of infrastructure, we have world-class infrastructure. So there is widespread broadband coverage. So we have 5G networks here, and fiber has been rolled out quite aggressively in the last few years. So we have an excellent internet connectivity and cellular connectivity. There are also over 30 co-working space in the Cape Town area. So it's really easy to sort of hit the ground running and deploy operations in a matter of days and weeks when you set up shop in the area. There's also quite a wide industry support. There's a local agency called Westgrow, which is very dynamic in supporting the local incorporation of company and any support you need with visa and things like that. We also have a very dynamic ecosystem and founders community called Silicon Cape. There's also another city 40 kilometers out of Cape Town called Stellenbosch, which is the wine area, where there's also quite a developed tech sector. We also have a lot of events, obviously Africa Arena, which is the flagship tech event in Africa, but also large international events happening at the Cape Town Convention Center. So it's a place of networking and gathering. In terms of air access, we have excellent air access in Cape Town. All the major international airlines are connecting Cape Town to Europe. The likes of KLM, which runs a daily flight out of Amsterdam, which connects into most European cities, British Airways, Air France, Lufthansa, Turkish Airlines, all that have direct lines, and many others. So you can see here that we have all the major airlines connecting the continent. We also have a lot of flights from Emirates twice daily, Dubai, Cape Town, for example, which gives us a lot of connection outside of the continent as well, quite easily. So you also have a large regional network. So for exploring sub-Saharan Africa, Cape Town has a lot of direct flights from Mozambique to Angola, Botswana, Zambia, Namibia, and so forth. In terms of digital skills, Cape Town is clearly the leader in terms of the availability of digital skills. I mean, 38% of the digital skills in South Africa are based in Cape Town. And generally speaking, Cape Town is seen as the #1 tech skills hub on the continent. The reason for that is that we have 3 of the top 10 universities that are located in Cape Town, of the African universities that are located in Cape Town. So there's a regular throughput of graduates from University of Cape Town, Stellenbosch University, University of the Western Cape, and Cape Peninsula University of Technology. So it's easy to find skills to staff your businesses and scale from the Cape Town area. We also have a lot of international companies. Most well known in the area is Amazon. Amazon Web Services was actually, as a technology, developed originally in Cape Town in 2006, something not many people know. So the heart of the cloud technology that is used by many companies around the world was actually developed in Africa, here in Cape Town. And as a result of that, Amazon has quite a large technology and support center and employs 4,000 people in the Cape Town area. The Africa headquarters for Amazon is being built just next door to where we are, and will host over 10,000 people within 5 years. We also other large companies like Oracle, IBM, local IT companies like Dimension Data, and many others. So you are surrounded by great tech companies. We also have a lot of listed companies that are operating here. Most notably, we have Naspers, which is an $80 billion market cap tech company and owns, for example, companies like Tencent in China and several companies in Africa and in Europe. It is a giant company with a lot of investment activity. So we also have a well-developed investment tech ecosystem. Also notably, Cape Town lifestyle. It's a dream city, arguably one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It has a lot of nature. We have 221 square kilometers of Table Mountain National Park around the city. So the city is literally built around beaches and mountains. It has 2 UNESCO World Heritage sites, amazing beaches, and it's a great place to surf. As everyone knows, we also have a fantastic wine area. Some of the best ones on the continent is produced out of Cape Town. Areas of innovation in Cape Town, a very strong fintech sector. We have many of the leading fintech companies on the continent, like Yoko, for example, that are headquartered here. We also have companies in headtech. One of the largest exit to date in Africa was an edtech company started out of Cape Town. We also have businesses in agri-tech, health tech, e-commerce, a very developed digital services sector, and quite an important renewable sector because of how much sun we have. There's a lot of solar businesses that have developed and a lot of innovation. Many success stories in Cape Town area in all these sectors. The local platform of e-commerce Takealot is a Series D startup and has raised a few $100 million to date. We also have a very nice company in the health tech sector. Some of them that are working with flagship companies like Apple. FinTech, as I mentioned, many success stories there. Some of the latest successes that we actually showcase at Africana many times are companies in the AI agri-tech space like aerobotics, or in a green tech space like Sun Exchange. So you have really almost every key sector of innovation represented. And as a result, we also have an increasing amount of corporates, European, including there are about, for example, 330 French companies operating in South Africa, and all the big names are there. So I really encourage you to apply to this program because first of all, we are operating this program with a very strong operation on the ground. The French South African Tech Labs have been running for 6 years. That's the program that Ndileka is running. We've accelerated about 50 companies, and we've also soft landed many European companies very successfully. And we could share those business cases with you if you're interested. And these were mostly startups companies. And also, I think, we have a very strong network of European entrepreneurs here in Cape Town. For example, the French Tech Network is extremely strong with many success stories. One of the most successful startups here in Cape Town was founded by a French guy. The company is called Ozo, and the name of the entrepreneur is Thomas Pace. So we have a number of success stories. If I share my personal experience, I've been in Cape Town for 18 years now, and I've started a number of businesses. And today I'm the CEO of several companies. The primary company is called Metis. It is a digital engineering and technology firm, which is headquartered in Cape Town, but has operation in France, UK, Benelux, and the whole of Africa. And we're able to operate as a very efficient business with people working in 5 countries. And half of our revenue comes from Europe, half of our revenue comes from Africa. We employ 80% of our workforce in Africa, mostly out of Cape Town and Tunis. And it's a very powerful model because we are essentially on the same time zone, but we're able to support our customers very successfully out of Cape Town. And we also have access to cost-effective, highly skilled workforce in all the different categories, whether it's talent acquisition or engineering and tech development or sales and support. So we also have team members working out of Europe that bring advanced skills out of there. So it's a powerful combination, and I think it's a natural bridge. So I really encourage you to leverage on that and apply for the program. Do you have any question on that before we welcome you to Cape Town? It's a very disconnected for some reasons. And I hope you could hear my presentation. Do you have any question?
Seems like we had lost the sound. Elias is saying we've reconnected on the sound back. Was there a question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, so my suggestion is that because we haven't got question, why don't we just move and then you present what you have to present and then we can, think of our questions later.
Oh yeah, sure. Let's do that.
Thanks.
Thanks so much. Elise, can you take over?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. I've been to Cape Town actually in November, and I can testify. It's a pretty vibrant city with an amazing ecosystem, startup ecosystem. So yeah, I would say it's definitely one of the best destinations in Africa to start a soft landing experience. So go ahead and apply if you are interested. If you have, of course, an international development potential. So this is targeted to all European startups that already are making some revenue and that can make the jump to the African continent. And yeah, so now this part of the webinar is going to present you what a soft landing program looks like. So we had the opportunity to launch a soft landing program last year, and it was the other leg. So it was from Africa to Europe, and this will give you a general overview of what it will look like. Also the other way, it will not be exactly the same, but some elements will be quite similar. So so here we go. I'm going to share my screen. I need the authorization to do that, I think. Can you do that maybe in Dileka if you have the control? Oh no, it's okay. Yeah, no,
You're fine? Okay, no problem.
Right. Perfect. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. Perfect. So I'll be making the presentation. I also have the chance, we all have the chance to have Cynthia with us, which is an alumni of the B Soft Landing program from the Adir Lounge startup or company. And she will also be able to give a little testimony and answer to some of your questions. So you have a fresh product of the B Soft Landing program with us today. So so let's dive right into it. So the B Soft Landing program was actually operated from September to December of last year. And so quick agenda, we're gonna talk real fast about Bondinov, but more importantly about the B Soft Landing program. And then as I said, meet one of our soft landers, so Cynthia today. So this is actually a picture of some laureates. I don't know if all of them are here. Most of them are. This was a picture taken actually at BPI France, also with some members of the team, Armel, Aissata, and who are not with us today, but spiritually they are. So Bondinov, actually, it's over 200 startups assisted since our launch. We are a French organization, but with Pan-African ambitions. We've been operating in over 18 countries now, mostly in French-speaking countries, but now more and more also in English-speaking countries, thanks to programs like ENRICH in Africa. And we also have a quite high success rate of our startups 5 years after they've been incubated with us. And we also have a privileged access to research. So the Institute of Research for Development is actually one of the co-founders of Bondinov. We're also located at their campus in the French region, in Paris region. Sorry. So there are also great ties with research and development, which is definitely linked to the world of innovation. And so yeah. And so we've been around for 10 years now. Our core values are sustainability, excellence, and solidarity. These are our two main campuses now. So one is in Bondy. This is the historic one, or the headquarters. We're opening the new office in Dakar on May 19th. There will actually be a pretty big festival. So if you are around by May 19th, please make sure you drop by. And so this will be our second office, awaiting our third office in Casablanca, Morocco, pretty soon. So we have 4 polls, but yeah, anyway, this is not the time to discuss Bondinov. Let's go more into the B soft landing program. So soft landing program, as you know, aims at encouraging the mobility of entrepreneurs from a point A to a point B. And for that, they would need an immersion in the local ecosystem. They would need to connect with partners and investors in that target area. And they would also need some technical assistance. So the way we do it in soft landing program is we perform an initial diagnosis of the startups right from the start. This sets up the roadmap for the next 3 months, but we also make a roadmap for longer term. But at least for the 3 months when they are in France or in South Africa, they have a roadmap to follow. Of course, they can adjust it on the go. But yeah, this sets the tone basically for each startup. Like what should they do? What should they figure out during those 3 months to basically have their international journey on track? And so once we have this roadmap set up, we define regular follow-up sessions with dedicated resources. So in this case, we would have FSAT Labs resources doing follow-ups every week with each of the startups. And of course, they would need access to facilities. So the incubator space, there are other co-working spaces. Also, if there are housing options, this is quite important. We've had some pretty, I mean, it is important to look at like during the soft landing programs. So, for example, in Bondinov case, we could provide some housing because we are located on a quite spacious campus, and we had some rooms to rent to the soft landers. So, but I'm sure on Cape Town side there will be options as well. Sorry about the typo. It's a promise with the ISE. So yeah, as you know, every incubation or every soft landing program has a promise to the laureates. So for us, there was a promise regarding the training. So there was a quite heavy technical training part. There was also a promise about connecting or creating partnerships with European partners, access to co-working space, assistance to obtain the French visa. Also, the opportunity to discover the European, or in this case, the African entrepreneurial ecosystem. And finally, for the most successful ones or lucky ones, to meet potential investors or partners. And the selection process looks quite similar to the South African one. So last year we launched the call for application around April, and then we had a 2-phase selection process. So first pre-selection, we selected 80 projects out of 80. So that's 25 rates. And then from these 20 projects, we selected 10 laureates on August. And basically we had about a month or so for the laureates to basically embark, get through the administrative stuff like visa and book the tickets and book the housing. So this is also a part not to neglect during the preparation. And then starting the program from September 20th, and it ended on December 17th. So basically 3-month journey. Our eligibility criteria were quite similar. We had a slightly higher turnover requirements, because as you know, the cost of living in Europe is sensibly more than in Africa. So yeah, this should not be as difficult the other way around. Now that we are inviting European startups in Africa, although Cape Town can be a little expensive in some places, but yeah, I mean, I think for European startups, it should be okay. On the selection criteria, we value mostly the innovative side of the business model, added value, the socio-economic impact, financial criteria, how financially healthy is the business, also the business potential in the past, and most importantly, this was quite important criteria, is the potential of international development. How much potential basically does the business have? How compatible also the product or the service they're offering is with the European market, the motivation to join the European market. So yeah, we also looked how it could basically be embedded with the market they were targeting. And of course, does it make sense when reading the file or listening to the pitch? Yeah, basically, how much sense does it make to basically embark on the journey? So these are mostly the selection criteria that were used on the B soft landing program. I believe they would be quite similar, or maybe quite similar on the South African side. So the breakdown of the 3-month program is the following. We had the first week, which was basically a kickoff week or a bootcamp week, followed by specialized meetings. So these were three next weeks, and then we had 2 months with continued incubation in France or another champion in Europe. So in our case, we had 1 month of mandatory presence in France. And then the second and third month, you could basically travel around in Europe, or mostly in Schengen area, through the Champions Network. I mean, by the time the Champions Network was not fully consistent, now we have much more champions in the network. But basically, depending on the affinities of the startups with other countries, they could basically travel around, but we would not just leave them in nature. We would still do follow-ups with them and check how they're doing on their journey, depending on the roadmap that was initially set. So our laureates, as I said, we had 80 applicants for this program, 10 selected startups, 13 entrepreneurs came from the 10 startups. Some startups since more than an entrepreneur, and they came from 6 African countries. So we had Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, Madagascar, and South Africa. Mostly English-speaking countries, also because our communication was mainly made in English. So yeah, that's That's how it is. And then we had 7 sectors: health tech, food tech, retail, fintech, logistic, clean tech, and digital. So as you can see, quite a varied group. And it was also very interesting to put all these people together in a room. We had some nice synergies and interactions and different perspectives to see things. So yeah, it was actually a pretty nice group we had the chance to have. This is maybe a more detailed present or card about every laureate. The Adir Lounge, so the one we're going to have today is actually a hand-dyed textile company that creates unique designs of non-conventional fabrics like chiffon, t-shirts, scarves, and silk. I'm going to let Cynthia also talk a bit more about this also fashion company. Yeah, it's a quite proud African startup. So giving maybe a bit more material about what to expect from such program. So as I was saying, we had this first week. It was an intensive bootcamp with 11 workshops, and we invited experts, mostly French experts, on internationalization strategy. And the topics covered were quite wide, so we wanted to give as much material as we could to the laureates so that they can basically conquer France or Europe in 3 months. So we had presentation of the Parisian and European entrepreneurial ecosystem. We also had discussed topics around international development, intercultural management, how to create your company in France from A to Z, fundraising methods, how to optimize your media, or how to best use the media to boost your company. We also discussed tax and public financial support, how to pitch. Anyway, so these are some topics we thought were necessary for our soft landers to basically start their journey. Yeah, then as I was saying, we had this quite technical but necessary phase where we did the initial diagnostic sessions, followed by programmed follow-up sessions per week. And those diagnostic sessions were basically looking into the vision and framing of the startup, the market positioning, the business model, their finance strategy, their international strategy, the team, and the digital and communication actions. Besides that, we also opened the Bondinov experts database through the Softlanders. So in every incubator, we have every incubator has a set of experts. They can unlock this database for their incubators, and we did. So the topics covered are the followings, and they basically had the opportunity to book a meeting with an expert on the area they were interested in for free for the first meeting, but then the second meeting, I believe the second or the third meeting had to be paid. So that's how anyway the business model was is operated as Bondinov, and it's a partnership between the incubator and the expert. Yeah, I believe they had up to 2 meetings for free. Maybe Cynthia can confirm that. I'm having a bit. I'm forgetting.
Yeah, it was 2 meetings for free.
Okay, thank you. Then discovering the ecosystem and connecting to partners. So this is the fun part. I would say we used online events. Yeah, from September to December was quite sensitive. Also, it was COVID time also in France. But we decided to maintain the program because these people had already applied, and they wanted to make the jump. So we were like, okay, let's go. And online tools helped quite a lot. So the kickoff was made online. There was also a webinar on Euroquity, which is the EIA Enrich in Africa platform, also online. And finally, the webinar, the whole webinar of the first week was also broadcasted online for some laureates who could not make it to France on time. So we made sure that they could access this intensive bootcamp online for those who could not. But I believe by the end of the first week or middle of second week, all laureates were in France and ready to start their international journey. We also had then more fun, so physical events. We called them the ecosystem tours. So among the partners we visited, so there was Paris Co, which is the Paris Economic Development and Innovation Agency, Station F, which is the world's biggest startup campus in Paris, BPI France, also the French Public Investment Bank, and which is also a partner of ENRICH in Africa. So we had quite privileged access to their rooms and mentors and advice. So we made sure they could also, that our laureates could benefit from that. Then we also had some events. We invited laureates to the BPI France Inno Generation, which is the largest business meeting organized by BPI France in October of last year. And then there was also a breakfast on international collaborative innovation at Station F and BPI France, the French Tech Center, Hacking de l'Hôtel de Ville, which is also an annual gathering organized by the city of Paris, where our laureates had the great privilege to pitch in front of, I don't remember, hundreds of thousands of people. Also some ambassadors present during that day, and it's in one of the most beautiful buildings also in Paris. And yeah, basically, this is just a tip of the iceberg. There were many other connections that were made. Over 25 actors were put in contact with the BIS laureates. So yeah, this is a quite fun part for I believe for the laureates to have in a. Then on the logistics and administrative support, we made sure that all laureates actually had sponsorship for visa before arrival. So quite close relation with the French embassies in the 5 African countries. And after the program, we also sponsored some laureates to have a long stay visa to stay in France for 4 years. So basically, that they would have to go back to their country and then to apply for long-term visa. And so yeah, Cynthia or the Adir Lounge is actually among those. We also have a few more that made the choice to come back to France and pursue their business. We also had the transportation from the airport that was included, affordable housing, day-to-day assistance, thanks to our one of our administrative assistants, and co-working spaces. And of course, yeah, there was the fun part also discovering Paris, so Eiffel Tower, Musée du Louvre, an escape game. I believe in Cape Town there's also quite a lot of fun things to do. So yeah, make sure to apply not only for these things but also for these things. So few insights also from some projects that made it to the B soft landing program. Actually, they have all started their incorporation in France. They've all improved their international business strategy. Some startups like Salubata or Vipox found a French co-founder. Some won also prizes, like Salubata was quite impressive that they won a pretty significant prize at the COP26 challenge in Scotland. And there were more funding or local acceleration opportunities offered to laureates after the program. As I was saying, it's not a French exclusive program, so some projects also moved around Germany, Sweden, UK, Belgium, Luxembourg. One also was linked to the Canadian market. But yeah, I mean, we had some pretty good results, but we were also lucky to have some pretty high quality startups coming from Africa, and yeah, they're also the flagship elements of this whole program. So as of last month, I believe 3 entrepreneurs or 3 startups were back in France. Most of them are still interested in ENRICH in Africa services for entrepreneurs, and most of them also are pursuing their international development plan, be it in France or outside of France. So that shows also how successful these programs can be for people who take the risk, but go for the big adventure, I would say, to leave their comfort zone in their home country and decide to break the codes a little bit. And all of them actually obtained their French Tech visa, so that was also a good news for them. So yeah, now I'm switching to Cynthia from Adria Lounge. We actually didn't have a format decided, so I don't know, Cynthia, if you want to just share your experience a bit spontaneously, or if you want to do questions and answers, it's really up to you.
Okay, I will just, hi everyone, my name is Cynthia CJ. I'm the co-founder for the Adira Lounge. Thank you, Elias. I think I'll just say what we do. Then if anybody has questions, because I think Elias has said everything that we experienced during the B Soft Landing program last year. So if anyone has any questions, I'll just say what we do. Then if you have any questions, specific questions as an African moving to Europe, the challenges, the support, anything that then I can answer. So if that's fine.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Cynthia CJ, and I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm the co-founder of the Adira Lounge, right? Sustainable fashion tech startup. We create sustainable products using hand-dyed techniques and organic and sustainable products. And we joined the B Soft Landing program organized by Bondinov. We're one of the laureates from Nigeria, Africa. We joined the program last year in September. We came into France in September, and the program ended in December, like Elias stated. If you have any questions, you can just ask of how the process and the experience was in getting the visa, even after the French Tech visa and all that process.
I have a question for you, Cynthia. And then after, if we can just focus on the African market, that would be good, because now we are kind of just hearing for people coming from Africa to Europe. So but I think that the focus of this webinar is how we can really understand much more the African market, which is, at least for my perspective, that's what I wanted to know, even if I'm from Africa. But you know, the idea is to really understand the African market. But just saying that, what would you say was the concrete result that you got out of this experience, Cynthia?
Okay. For my own company, when we were in Nigeria, we used to export to Europe. And as we all know, shipping was difficult, access to the market was difficult. But being part of the soft landing program really helped scale that for us. We got partners who found it way easier, us having a presence in Europe, France, and they trusted our brand more. So we were also being located in Europe, France, helped us scale that aspect of our business. So for me, that was very important. And also access to partnerships, translator from an English-speaking country coming to France, where most 80% speak French. So we had translators, we had access to partnerships. We also had like diagnosis who helped us to be able to poke holes in whatever model we had in Africa, knowing that it's not going to be the same thing that will work in Europe. So it also helped us modify our business model and plan.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. So are you still in France or are you back in Nigeria now?
We went back to Nigeria in December after we got the French tech visa. Then we came back in March. Now, so I'm in France now.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody have any other question?
Also, if there are any specific questions regarding the African market, please do ask, then we'll respond from our side.
Okay, I can see a question from Paul. How has the transactions been since we got to France? Okay, we had customers since we got to France. We've had customers before we moved to Europe, before we moved to France, but we're yet to register our company. So we just got our resident card. Like I said earlier, we came in last month. I moved in last month to Paris. So it's ongoing. We're already speaking with partners that we had meetings with last year. So it's just for us to be able to register and start receiving sales and generating sales.
All right. Thank you, Cynthia, for testimony. I hand it over to Ndileka and anyone who has questions also about the Europe to Africa program.
There's a question: how did you handle the language gap since you're from an English-speaking country?
So, like I said, 80% of people staying in France speak French, and we had like language classes last year. It was also part of the support that we had from Bondinov. So we had like language classes, we had apps that we could download, but most people understand a little bit of English. So what I did do is I started learning, got an app downloaded that I could learn French from, and also sort of also use a translation website if it was an email or something. But most people can speak English a little bit, not as perfect as someone coming from an English-speaking country. So you can actually survive, but you can actually survive day to day.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions, whether directed to Cynthia, the FSAT Lab teams, or Bondinov?
How good is your French, Cynthia, now?
30%, ça va, très bien. I'm getting there, 30%, I think.
It's just fair that you guys can learn French now, so that's fair enough.
Yes, yeah. And I actually think it's very good to be bilingual, so.
Yeah, definitely.
I see that as an adventure.
Cynthia, we were traveling to Dakar last week, so I had to polish up on my French overnight.
Yeah. Ndileka, I can't hear you. Can anybody hear her, or it's just me?
Yeah, no, I think.
Look, I think she just came back now. So maybe her network.
So your objectives, as she will be coming, Cynthia, is to develop your brand in France. So how are you seeing things evolving?
So we want to develop our brand in France, like have a presence in France, then also see how we can get investors. Because that's how we can get investors and more customers being present in Europe. So France is sort of like our access to Europe, and having the French tech visa gives you access to the other Schengen countries, which are over 20. So business within those Schengen countries way easier than if you're doing it from Africa.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we still on the African subject, or we can move to Europe subject, or can we move to African subject? Because I'm interested more in Africa.
Francine, you're more than welcome to ask any questions.
Okay, thanks. Christophe, my question is for Christophe. You've been in, obviously, Cape Town for the last 20 years, I think you are. And although I'm from Africa, so I won't say that as entrepreneur, I'm not very don't know in depth the African market. But for this program that you're doing, what's the name again? I forgot the name. What would you say will be the key thing to think about when coming? For example, are you looking for the kind of entrepreneur you are looking for? Are those, like, when you say startup, are those people who have the definition of startup, or like entrepreneur in general? And what would you say will be like the key success that people actually get when they come? And has that also been like a big failure that people finally find out actually this is not the place to be? I just wanted to hear from your own experience what you know, and from this program as well, Christophe.
So first of all, the scope of the program is really to primarily focus on tech-enabled businesses, so startups, entrepreneurs, whatever, from about any maturity. So it could be quite early stage, but it's got to have a tech enablement element, because that's where we're going to add value to your business, right? If you are completely outside of that sphere, this program is not really for you. I think the track record in terms of soft landing businesses in this area is quite high. It is culturally and structurally quite easy to settle in and build opportunities. I mean, South Africa is a bit a new world country. So you should be able to, if you have the motivation, obviously, to try to develop your businesses here, find people, find customers. So the ultimate KPI for me is you incorporate here, you find clients, and within 3 months from the time you do your soft landing, you basically operating with a business, So that's really for me the key elements. So I don't know, what business are you in, Francine?
Actually, I'm in digital strategy and digital marketing. So obviously it's tech, but it's not like I'm not developing tech. So I come from a tech background. I come from computer science, but I moved now into much more digital marketing, and I do provide.
That's fine.
Yeah. So would you classify that as a tech?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, and then
technology services and services around that is eligible.
Yes, digitally enabled. And obviously I work from anywhere, so I don't have to be so in any place, and I still want to keep that model. So I don't want to be physically, I can, obviously if I go somewhere, I don't want to be tied to that place. I want to operate a business totally, fully digital, as I'm doing right now. And it's only me as well. I saw that in your program earlier. You say that they have to have like 2 employees and a co-founder. It's just me.
Yeah. No, I mean, in fact, Cape Town has recently gone on a campaign. So you know, there's this, a lot of people now with work from home, they actually have become digital nomads. And we have a lot of them in Cape Town, particularly in the summertime. So the period from September to March, where people are actually Airbnb-ing and finding customers here. So, you know, just from that perspective, you might be able to spend a few weeks here and find customers that you're able to serve from anywhere else, maybe hire a couple of people here, and you grow your business both from a capacity and revenue side, you know. And that, I think, for me, that would be quite successful as a
that is the kind of model I'm looking for, really, like a location independent model, you know, yes, and obviously having like some people on the ground who can help with other stuff, right?
Okay.
Okay, cool. And what kind of business again did you do, Christophe? I don't know if
we're more on the engineering side. We Métis, if you're asking. So Métis is a nutshell. We have, let's say, 3 legs to our business. We operate in a consulting business. We have a digital capacity, which is mostly developers. So we have several developers in mobile application, backend systems, front end. We don't really do digital marketing, so you could be a partner for us. And then we have an innovation arm, so that's the incubator that Ndileka is running, and we have a number of businesses in that space. Africa Arena, you can check africaarena.com is one of them. It's primarily tech events to connect investors, corporates with founders. That's what we do.
And regarding the accommodation wise, what would you say is the range of accommodation, you know, in Cape Town?
Oh, you find it's really wide. I mean, you know, you find accommodation from about 40 euros a day to a monthly. On a monthly, you can from 500 euro monthly, you can find something okay in downtown Cape Town, you know, with all the basics essential. I mean, obviously you can go much higher than that. But, you know, we have
you can find 10,000 one as well.
We have some of the most beautiful houses in the world here, but yeah.
Yeah, but I was just thinking.
But you're asking a lot of technical questions.
If we compare to like a Paris, I can have like an 800 euro perhaps kind of flat.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
That will be in South Africa.
I think Elias touched on it, but the cost of living index here is 50% of what it is in France, for example. So you got to see that everything is about 50% cheaper. Housing is a little bit more expensive, but for the rest, it's about that, you know. And so goes, you know, anything else, price of services and things like that, salaries.
What will be the monthly connection for a broadband, like unlimited broadband in South Africa, in Cape Town?
Yeah, so that's quite similar to Europe. So I'd say 30-40 euro a month for bundle with TV.
That's my problem in Africa, where actually you locate in Africa thinking that you're going to make some saving, because I know quite a lot of African countries, but you end up paying so much more. That's, you know, and for also sometimes for not very much.
Francine, I think we must allow other people to ask questions, and you seem to have a lot of detailed questions. We can take that offline, perhaps. Okay. And Dileka, do you want to, I don't know how much running time you got, but we're already 70 minutes into this.
We almost out of time. Are there any further questions? Francine, we can catch offline and we'll give you more information of what you're looking for, as it's more specific and also around logistics that we can provide for you. Are there any further questions from anyone else before we wrap up? If there aren't any further questions, I'd like to thank you very much for logging in. Thank you, Bondinov, for co-hosting this with us. And should you have any specific questions that you would like to reach out, you can reach out to me on my email. It's nzansi, NZANTSI, at fsatlabs.co.za. You're more than welcome to reach out and we'll assist you with any further questions that you have. Having said that, thank you so much. Elias, is there anything else that you would like to add?
No, it's all good from my side. So the message is clear. Go ahead and apply to this amazing soft landing program. The benefits are numerous, and I'm sure that our partners, FSAT Labs, will do an amazing job operating it. They have a great knowledge of the local startup ecosystem, and they will connect you with valuable players. So go ahead and apply. You'll find the link as a follow-up email right after this. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Thanks.